chords right now. These are the first 4 chords of 5'2". And we're just going to do this so that we can hear the sense of barbershop harmony that we get when we resolve to the 4th chord. So the words are 5'2", eyes. How many of you have those memorized already? 5'2", eyes. We'll start with the bass part, and the bass will be 5'2", eyes. How small is that half step, basses? Smallest half step in Western music. That's that half step. Basses sing 5 and 5'2". It's pretty good. It's pretty good for a first try. All of you who are listening, can you tell whether there could be a smaller half step there? Probably. Yeah, I get a lot of nods. Ready? Basses again and 5'2". Good. And after the voting stopped, it got pretty good. Good. So let's vote faster now, basses, and the higher ones get to win the vote. And 5'2". There's the one we want. Good. And that's where you'll hang in there, basses. You're not going to let anybody pull you off of that final note as being that high. Tenors will be here. 5'2", eyes. Really? That high? 5'2", eyes. Because the basses are going to go a tiny half step down, and the tenor note would have to be really a big whole step up there. Tenors and basses. 5'2". And since we have many more tenors than we have basses, we'll ask the tenors to just live inside the bass's overtone when you get to that last chord. And 5'2". That's pretty good. Basses, we've allowed 5'2", eyes to creep back in. Oops. And you can't blame the tenors. They didn't push you flat. 5'2", eyes. Tiny little half step, 2 parts, tenors and bass. 5'2". That's the one. That is incredibly high tenors. I see all the tenors and they're going like this. Wow. Baritone part. 5'2", eyes. That's a huge half step baritones. 5'2", eyes. It's not quite a whole step, but boy, it sure gets a big half step there. And baritones sing with the tenors and the basses. Baritones there. And 3 parts. 5'2". Just find yourself inside of the bass's overtone. We'll try that again. Basses, there could still be a smaller interval, and everyone else listens with the bass, and so your baritone and your tenor note should really lift. And 5'2". Now the leads have the melody, and they sing 5'2", eyes. So since that's the normal thing for the leads to do, we're going to ask the leads just to listen to the basses and baritones and tenor. Now, how's that for a novel suggestion? We'll ask them to listen to the other 3 parts and just let their note on eyes go to where their ear takes them to. And let's see what happens. 4 parts, lead note there, baritone, tenor, bass, and 5'2". That's a barbershop sound. Hear how much lift is in that sound? Okay, and basses, can you make a smaller half step yet? Can everybody else listen to the bass note? Can everybody else leads listen to the top 2 parts? And here we go again. It'll even be better this time. And 5'2". Barbershop comes from, and it happens because that wonderful thing that we just did, we jumped out what the old barbershoppers said was out further on the circle of fifths. What's the circle of fifths? It has nothing to do with the bar. The circle of fifths, where we jump out around 5'2", eyes of blue, but oh, what those white folks could do. Has anybody seen my gal? We come back around through the circle. That's what barbershop chords do. Sing those four chords again, and 5 foot 2. We won't go on with the song, but that's barbershop harmony, ladies and gentlemen. I started out as a child. I was very fortunate that my parents saw fit to send me to not just a parochial school, but a Lutheran parochial school. And Lutherans sing a lot. You know, you ever heard of this fellow by the name of J.S. Bach? Okay, he was sort of a famous Lutheran. And so I learned from an early age to sing, obviously, sacred music for the Lutheran Church, and went to even high school, secondary school in Lutheran Church, and that was kind of led me to being wanting to be a musician. I had the marvelous opportunity of having a high school choral teacher who, when he was in college, sang in a barbershop quartet. Now, when he was in school, of course, I'm in the 60s now, going to secondary school, and he was pre-Barbershop Harmony Society in a quartet. He had he was a trumpet player, piano player, and a trumpet brass quartet. All of them sang, so they would go on tour with their brass quartet and sing as well, and sing, guess what? Not only sacred 4-part harmony, but they would sing some early barbershop. And he was so enamored of what barbershop could do for our ear training that he made sure that there was a barbershop quartet every year. Didn't do that with the girls, I don't know why, but he did it with the guys. And so I got to sing baritone in a barbershop quartet in my second year of high school. Isn't that incredible, baritones? Good choice, right. So that started it, but I still didn't know anything about SPEB, SQSA, or anything about it. Many of us went off to college then, and some into the armed services, and later on we got back together just to reminisce and said, you know, hey, do you remember any of those barbershop songs that we used to sing? And so we kind of dug around a little bit and found the original music that we sang from, and found out we hadn't forgotten much of it at all. And so one of the fellows happened to notice that there was a barbershop show. This was in the Los Angeles area at the time. There was a barbershop show advertised, and he said, well, we all ought to go. And this was sponsored by the Pasadena chapter of SPEB SQSA. So we had no idea what we were getting into. So here we go to this show, and this is an old 90-year-old auditorium. I'm being trained, yes. Not so old, but anyway. Beautiful auditorium, fitting of the barbershop era, which would have been around 1910, 1915, when the quartets of vaudeville first were starting. Anyway, so this little chorus of about 20 voices came on stage, and they sang 2 songs to start out with. And they were terrible. And we wondered, what are we getting into here? So the MC comes out and introduces the first quartet. And this is a quartet all from the same family. Some of you may have heard of this quartet's name. They were called Kidder. That was their last name. Kidder and Sons Incorporated. And the 3 boys, 2 of them had unchanged voices at that time. And so they would pitch things up just a little bit. And boy, do you think all 4, dad and 3 sons could ring chords? Yes. That was just incredible, and all of a sudden our jaws dropped and we went like that and just couldn't believe that. And then they had intermission, and the MC comes back on and introduces and says, you've all waited for this next quartet. Please welcome the Pacific Airs. Now, we didn't know who that was, but there had been a convention just before that in 1973, I believe, in Portland, where the Pacific Airs, who had been silver medalists, were anticipated on winning the gold medal. And guess who happened to be there to film that convention? The BBC. The BBC was there to produce this wonderful film, and later on I did get to see that. But this was the Pacific Airs at their height. They had just won their 3rd silver medal, having had it yanked from them by a brand new quartet called the Dealer's Choice. They're okay. And so we got to hear the Pacific Airs, and again, our jaws were just dropping. I remember the impact of that to this day. Nobody could sing that well. Then the MC comes out and says, "Now for the quartet you've been waiting the whole evening for. Please welcome the Sun Tones." So that was the hook. That was the show that sat the fish hook in my cheek and pulled me into barbershop. I spent many hours after that talking and visiting other chapters in the Los Angeles area, and finally ended up at a chapter in a suburb where there was an instructor by the name of Earl Moon. Earl Moon was one of the barbershop icons. I didn't know that at the time, but he could. If a chapter meeting were 3 hours, and of that 3 hours, let's say 2 hours and somewhat were spent in actual chorus singing, Earl would manage to take up at least an hour of that 2-hour time in talking. And a lot of people didn't care for that, but as a brand new barbershopper, the stories that he would tell, I was just fascinated by. And then I'd go to the afterglow, and they'd make me woodshed. Huh? I mean, I was a music major by then, you know. I just tell me the notes to sing and I'll sing them. So learning tags was kind of fun, but woodshedding, I didn't get that at all. But here was Earl standing across from me, and as we go through the song that we're woodshedding, he would do this, and then he would do this, and he would do this, and this, and one, and chord symbols. I could figure that out. I know what note I was supposed to sing then. So that was how I learned to woodshed. Thank you, Earl. Thank you, Earl, for allowing me to find that. That's a wonderful hobby. Let's stand up, and we're going to sing 3 more chords. How many of you have ever heard the song "Down Our Way"? Down Our Way. Okay, so we have a bunch of people that know that. Go ahead and stand up. May not be the key on your pitch pipe on the music, but we'll take that as the key. And we'll have the basses to sing first. Always asking the bass to sing first. Down our way. Basses sing those 3 notes. Down our way. Good choices. And I would submit that down our way is how high that note should go. Play it, basses. Down our way. Good choices. And tenors will be next. Down our way. That second note really lifts, and basses and tenors together, and down our way. And notice the tenors were very aggressive in making sure that middle note was high enough, but the basses weren't aggressive enough to make sure that they listened to their friendly neighborhood tenor. Wait, what did he just say? Basses listen to the tenors? How novel that is. But the tenors have that natural harmony. And if the bass were to listen to the tenor more often, they would sing the pitches what? Better or worse? Better. Down, down, and down. 2 parts. The challenge was taken up very well. Good. And baritones. Down our way. 3 parts. And down our way. Good job. Notice I've saved the lead for last in both of these cases. Why? Because we're going to ask the leads to do something novel. We're going to ask the leads to just listen and sing their part in harmony with the other 3 parts. Oh my goodness, that's a violation of the barbershop creed, right? We all sing harmony into a lead melody, but now we're going to have the lead sing in tune to the harmony parts that are just demoed. Do the 3 parts again, then we'll add the lead. And down. Down. 4 parts, and. Second and third chord. How often do we get to hear that lift? Not often enough. In fact, that jump, again, which is the same one as in 5'2", that jump out from 1 around the circle of fifths is probably the most magical sound, and what drew me, not just the ringing of the chords, but just that magical lift that we hear there, was what drew me into barbershop. Sing that again. That's the old way basses. Down, down, bass is low. Down, good, that's better. I noticed that we're singing down instead of down. Which one? Number 1 or number 2? Number 2. Play it, basses. Down, good. Tenors, add. Parts. Good. That's all we're going to do, just enjoying a few chords. Thank you.